Hello, so our lesson today, let me see, our lesson today will be about stress. My name is Mahlatse and I teach life orientation grade 12. So let's start here. So our main topic is going to be about stress, right? And then the reason why we're including stress in our curriculum is that we've realized that obviously a lot of people are experiencing stresses in life, and currently you are experiencing stress. So what is a stress? What is a stress? How do we cope with stress? How do we cope? What is it? When do you experience stress? So basically we're going to be answering the what, how, and when questions, including stress, right? Okay, cool. So the reason why we're including such things is because we want to install the life skill in you. We want to install what? The life skill in you, so that you can be able to do what? To adapt to different changes. They can be what? They can be positive and they can be negative. Okay, so they can be positive and they can be negative. And even stress can be positive and also can be negative. Okay, so let's start with this. So let's define stress. What is a stress? Because we've been mentioning it. What is a stress? So a stress can be a constant worrying, a constant overthinking. Someone can say that. Someone can say a stress can be pain, can be it can be a mental pain. Someone can say stress can be it's a mental pain. Someone can say, well, when I'm stressed I get migraines, so stress to me is migraines. Someone can say, well, stress to me is headache, constant headache. Okay, so different this yellow pen, it's not visible. I guess we'll just be using that red pen that we've been using before. It's fine. I wanted to try something new, at least so we can have different colors, but the yellow one doesn't show, but it's fine. So now so we have different definitions of stress. Don't bother trying to cram the one that is in the textbook, trying so hard. It's fine. You can define it the way you understand it. Constant pain, constant worrying, overthinking, pressure, headaches, migraine. It's fine, for as long as they are in the definition and they make sense. Okay, so now that we tried to basically to understand what a stress is, and we're trying to understand why are we even learning about it, we're trying to do what? We're trying to install a life skill in you. We want you to be able to do what? To be able to adapt to different changes. They can be positive and they can be negative. Okay, so yeah, so let's get to it. What happens when a human being is experiencing stress? So when a human being experiencing stress, usually can see changes through their body. They can lose weight ridiculously. So they can you can see their skin. So we have some physical symptoms that you can see, oh, this person is actually experiencing stress. Like another change can be the changing in complexion. Somebody can be light in complexion, and then all of a sudden they experience stress, they start to be dark in color. Hair loss, you understand? They're worrying, they're complaining, they're overthinking, they don't think anything positive, they're always negative, they don't want to try new things, they're always constant, they don't want to do anything, they don't look forward to anything, there's no light, there's no nothing in their mind. So anyways, we explain what happens when a human being is experiencing stress. So we have what we call the stressors. These are the things that cause you to be stressed. Let's talk about the examination that you're going to be starting, the trial. I think most of the South Africa, I think we have already started with the English and the consumer studies and all that. Sorry. Okay, and then we have our stressors, the things that causes our stress. Let's talk about not having food at home. Let's talk about abuse. Let's talk about what else can we talk about? The examination, load shedding. Let's talk about not having data. Let's talk about wearing tight jeans. Let's talk about not having edges. Okay, so that is those are the things that cause you to be stressed. Okay, obviously we have a lot of serious issues besides, besides edges. So we have what you call the stressors. These are the things that cause you stress, and then the stressors are divided into four categories. We talk about the physical stressors, we're talking about the environmental stressors, we're talking about the social stressors, we're talking about the we're talking about the physical, the environmental, the emotional. The emotional, the social, and the environmental stressors. And under emotional stresses, we're gonna look at at our personality. Just when we get into it, we're gonna talk about it. What is it about? So a physical stress, we're talking about things that are including your body. Usually we're talking about our body, the human being body, having cancer. These are the kind of stresses that affect you physically. We're not talking about mentally, okay? We're not talking about environmental. We're not talking about load shedding here. We're talking about cancer. We're talking about TB. We're talking about rash, maybe having a body rash. We're talking about flu. We're talking about the coronavirus. We're talking about what else? Sunburn. You understand? We're talking about physical abuse. These are the things that affect your body physically. You can see it. Usually we can see, oh, this person, oh, shame, this person has suffered a lot. You can see that person, this person, shame, this person has suffered. Physically, you can see it, okay? But before we even get into one by one, before we even get deeper into it, I want you to know that each category, they are interrelated, okay? They are interrelated, because the moment you experience a physical stress, the moment you experience a physical beating, it can affect you where? Emotionally. You understand? Can affect you emotionally. So you're going to be experiencing what? You're going to be experiencing depression. You're going to be experiencing unwanted low self-esteem. That is environmental stress, okay? But they are interrelated, okay? They are interrelated, but also they act separately, because a person can just have TB and not worry about it, okay? And not worry about it. A person can have flu and just be fine, and they just be like, what's on? It's just flu. I usually have it. It's okay. A person can have what? A person can do drugs. A person can abuse alcohol and not worry about it. Manyaupana, let's talk about manyaup. They can just be doing nyaupe all day, all night. They don't care whether it affects their body. They don't care whether it affects their lungs or their skin. They don't care, right? They don't care. So hence they act separately. But at some point, a person can experience what? A person can experience TB and then they start worrying. A person can contract HIV and start worrying, right? And then when the person start worrying constantly, they do what? It affects their emotionals. Okay, cool. So let's move on to emotional stressors. Emotional stressors, we're talking about the mental, the mental stressors, what you experience inside in your head. So we can just separate the emotional and the physical, and then we can say the physical, talking about the body, and then emotional, we're talking about our mind. Can we just separate it? Can we just put it that way so that we can maybe understand it, right? And then we're talking about when you talk about emotion, you talk about what's going on in your mind, whatever that's going on in your mind. Talking about anxiety, you're talking about depression, okay? These are the basic. I hope you can hear me. I hope you can hear me, but I think I'm loud enough. So we're talking about those depression things, like the low self-esteem things that we have inside us, the low confidence that we have within us, okay? The depression, the anxiety, the being scared, constantly lowering yourself, right? We're talking about that. And then personality can can influence our emotional stressors in terms of what? In terms of maybe you're a person who is competent. So always and always, you always want to be number one. So whenever you become number 2, number 3, number 5, you get stressed, you feel like you didn't do enough, you feel low, blah, 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 you know, you get it. And then also we have, let's move to our social stressors. Our social stresses, we're talking about our community, we're talking about our family, we're talking about our friends, we're talking about the people around us and the community around us. So this can cause stress in terms of what? In terms of, well, you can get bullied. Well, the society can just reject you. Let's talk about the gays and lesbians, whereby they're being rejected on daily basis, they're being judged on daily basis, they're being rejected by their parents, their friends, and church. You know, we can talk about that. So those people are actually experiencing what? A social stressor, because always and always they have to explain themselves, how they they become who they are right now. We talk about this transgenders always being asked a lot of questions. Why did you change? Why this? Why that? You were born this way. Why don't you love yourself? Blah 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 blah. So they're experiencing what? Social stressors instead of just being free and just being accepted in the society, right? The last one is the environmental stresses. I think load shedding may be part of it. I don't know. Or load shedding, maybe it's part of social stresses. I think environmental, we're talking about drought. We're talking about floods. We're talking about people dumping pampers on the roads. We're talking about okay, can I include our extreme winter conditions and our extreme sunny conditions? Not to be honest with you guys, this winter is causing me environmental stress. I have environmental stresses because of this winter. Honestly, it's August, it's end of August, but like it feels like end of May. It feels like end of May. It feels like June. So I'm gonna put winter, Shem. I'm gonna put winter here on my environment. I'm gonna put it, honestly speaking, it's supposed to be in here. We're talking about what else? Oh, even our social stresses. Let's include data connection, man, data network. Some places they don't have network connections. This is a social stressor. Out here not having a data connection, out here network is a very ibereka kai go bereka Vodacom mo MTN a bereka mo what is that, Rain a bereka go bereka. It's a lot. It's a social stress. I'm putting it there. So we're talking about the environmental stresses, whereby you're gonna experience so you just about drought, you just about load shedding, you just lack of water, you just soil erosion. Yeah, here we're talking about agriculture. Usually here it's agriculture vibes. It's agriculture vibes. So anyways, now that we dealt with what is a stress, why are we dealing with it, what happens when you're stressed, and the things that causes you stress, which are the more physical, emotional, social, and environment, let's talk about so I've been mentioning about stress, and I've never ever mentioned the positive side of it. I've been saying it negatively, and stress can be what? It can be positive, okay? It can be positive, it's not always negative. I for sure experienced a positive type of stress the time I was in university. I don't know now. Now that I'm experiencing extreme stress, I don't see any positive side of stress, to be honest. But I think no, stress have been positive on my side, It's just that I wasn't aware. But anyways, I've been saying the bad things about stress. But in life, in life we have what? Advantages and the what? And the disadvantages. We have the positives and the what? And the negatives, Multiple, we don't believe that not everything is bad. Volcanoes are not always bad. Even the coronavirus that we just experienced is not always bad. What else? Not even the load shedding. Load shedding really is one of those things that used to be bad when we first experienced it, and then now I think it's kind of like positive, right? In terms of what? in terms of, whenever there's load shedding in our homes, we get together, we gather, we be chatting, we getting to know each other. We sharing our stories and all that and all that. So load shedding is positive in terms of that. And another thing is that you can, on my side, I sleep, I take a rest from my phone, that is positive. There are a lot of positive side of load shedding. I'm not gonna, be dwelling on that, but we have a lot of them. So also in life, we don't believe that motho o wrong, even this stress, we don't believe that total so wrong, it should be cancelled, it should be doing that. So we also have what the positive side. What are those? We call them the stress. When you experience stress, but then it's a positive stress that encourage you to do things, to change, to do this, to that. It's a stress. And then when you have that kind of a stress that is putting you down, making you to go to a doctor and take some tablets, we call that, it's a de-stress. Okay, it's a de-stress and a eustress. So these are the new terms that we just introduced in our topic today. So a eustress is a positive stress that you are experiencing. Let's talk about you being stressed about Euclidean geometry. That kind of a stress is making you do what? Going to your teacher, asking him, how can I do this? How can I do that? It's making you go on Google. Now that you are on YouTube, clicking on my channel, viewing this, it means you're experiencing what you're experiencing, a eustress. This is a positive stress. You want to know more. You've realized that you are going to be writing anytime soon, and this kind of a stress is causing you to do what? To get up and go and look for information, right? And then we're going to be looking at what? At this stress, this kind of a stress that is making you do drugs, probably go see a psychology, do alcohol, sleep all day, not want to do anything, wishing you could die, and do blah 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 blah. This is what? A distress. So let me wrap up with the management, how to manage this. So now that we know what is it, what happens, the stressors, the things that are causing you stress, the positives and the negative side of it. Now that we know all of this, what do we want to know? Now we want to know about the management, how to manage it, how to manage stress. Well, usually I can say that the management depends. Okay, it depends, because I don't want to come here and tell you, well, own a journal, well, listen to music, well, tell someone else, well, do this, well, do that. Well, I don't want to do it. I don't want to say that to you. All I'm saying is, please make sure that you know what is it that you're experiencing, okay, so that you can be able to come up with the correct solution for it. Okay, so if ever maybe you're experiencing a social stress, maybe loud noises outside, okay, maybe you can decide to move out, or maybe you can decide to put on a headset. Maybe you want to study and around your area around this time, 6 o'clock, it's very loud. You can at least put on your favorite music, and then you can listen to it and can be able to relax, so that you can be able to study rather than listening to outside music, right? And then another thing, maybe you're in an abusive relationship. Obviously you can break up. I can't be telling you go to a psychologist. Come on, that's an abusive relationship. Break up. What else? You can own a journal, right? You can't be stressed about your matric results or your matric exams and be owning a journal. It's not possible, right? So every stress is it's certain management. Okay, so every management goes with a certain stress. If you are experiencing depression, yes, you can own a journal so that you can write about what you're thinking. Yes, you can take a trip. Okay, so if you're experiencing a mathematics stress, you can't able to solve the certain formula. You need to visit your teacher. You need to do your research. Okay, don't be sitting here owning a journal, writing about this formula and not doing it. Obviously you won't be solving the problem. Okay, so management has to go with the problem. Okay, please, it has to go with the problem. You can listen to music, you can own a journal, you can decide to run, you can exercise, you can work out, right? You can run, you can meditate, you can have a study timetable, you can have what else? You can talk to someone, What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? You can take tablets, even though it's not recommended. But then, obviously, if you do go visit your doctor and your pharmacist, they can recommend you tablets depending on your level of your stress, right? And then what can we do? What can we do to solve stress? Listen to music, journals. You can decide to just move or change your area. You can decide to talk. You can decide to, what else, the last one. Oh, with the talking, you can talk to the person who's who's causing you stress, right? You can decide to accept. Yes, accept. This is very important. This is very important. Accepting, Barry, accepting is the key to happiness. The key to happiness. You can literally accept. You can accept that you have TB. You can accept that you have a personality that is competent. You can accept that socially and there's nothing we can do about it, and we go get the SIM card that works for everyone and everywhere, right? And then you can accept that environmental and start buying water. You can accept that environmentally you can just accept, or life, what can I do? I think we're done with our lesson of stress, and then tomorrow I think we're gonna be talking about conflict. I think tomorrow we're gonna be wrapping up about conflict. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe, like. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you.